pirates, yes, they robbed I, and they sold I to the merchant ships. Yes, minutes after they died from the bottomless pit. But my end was made strong by the end of the Almighty. We forward in this generation triumphantly. Won't you? Whoa. Not a song of free man is all I ever have. Redemption songs, yeah, redemption songs. One more thing. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Have no fear for atomic energy, cause none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. Would you help to sing another song of freedom? All I ever have, redemption songs, redemption songs.
Our goal is to help people cook some of the best dishes possible. Dr. Sadu.
And yes, there's a meeting here tonight. And tonight's conversation has been curated with members of our community that will help to empower us as we move towards this Emancipation Day 2021. My victory guests tonight are Itah Sadu, a storyteller, the co-owner of a different bookless cultural center, the People's Residence, and Louis March, the founder of the Zero Gun Violence Movement. Tonight, they are joining us to speak on the event that they have worked on together over the last few years for Emancipation Day, the Freedom Train. And so tonight, I want you to welcome Louis March and Miss Itah Sadu because it's redemption time. Yes, yes, yes. So welcome, 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 everyone. Welcome, Itah. Welcome, Louis, to the Victory Speak Show. We started a little different tonight, a little Bob Marley, a little Richard Bona, Gotta
Yeah,
bring the boat in for the two of you tonight, A little
no,
Caribbean, a little
thank you.
African, everything.
No, thank you for having us on, Nicole. And it is wonderful that you started with the redemption song by the Honorable Robert Nesta Marley, Bob Marley. And it is only fitting because that piece or speech was written by the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey in his address in Halifax, Nova Scotia. So, Canadian attached and to some degree to Redemption Song. Really happy to be here, and thank you for having me.
Well, I am so blessed and highly favored to have you guys here tonight that I feel like I am in the midst of royalty with the both of you. And how are you doing tonight, Louis? How are you doing tonight, my king?
Oh God.
I'm just happy to be here today to talk about such an important event, Emancipation Day, the Underground Freedom Train Ride. Yeah, I'm just happy to be here in good company, good vibes, have a good discussion, and see if we can get people more excited about the big event on July the 31st.
Yes. And
Our,
let me tell you,
our ninth annual
Well,
Underground Freedom
ninth.
Train.
Louis, it is already excited because Nicole brought us on, and she's amped up right now. So this is a wonderful thing because when two of us in agreement, no, Nicole in agreement, no, we going places, no, we just got to find out more people in agreement. But I think we're onto something good.
I hope they could fit on the train. I hope they could fit on this train tonight. It's a victory freedom train.
That's good.
It's a victory freedom train. Listen now, people.
Yeah.
I'm warning you listening live on replay. If you didn't get your pen and paper out, you see, I just start dropping the history lesson, even with the intro. So you better get yourself ready because we're dropping it like fire. It's hot. Nobody will get burned up tonight. But your brain, your mind will be expanded like my hair is expanding with the humidity tonight. Glory.
Is that what it is? And one thing though, I got to say, because I just came out one of my board meetings, and I am the managing director of the Different Book List Cultural Center, not the co-owner of it. So that this wonderful group of 9 people who work so hard to make us look good, think like, oh God, what happened in there, boy? What about we? So managing director of the Cultural Center, and just incredibly just pleased to be here. And congratulations too on bringing this platform and voices into the community, but not just into the community, but into a Canadian space. So this is fantastic. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Itah. And when we think about, we're going to go into a little bit because people have to know you. We don't know where people are listening from. And, we talk about the cultural center, but before there was the cultural center, there was the different book lists, you and your hobby had that. Yes. So we have to give kudos if I don't get honor King Miguel, right? Yes. Standing by your side. Yeah. Doing things before everybody say, oh, what are you doing there? But wait, we need to be a part of this. So before the board came on, there were 2 standing in agreement.
There was 2 standing in agreement. And the beautiful thing about this bit of conversation, Nicole, is there is the bookstore, and the bookstore is a tenant of the cultural center. And what we're responding to in this moment is also the trajectory of independent bookstores who speak to the wellness and well-being in a society. So we're excited that we are part of constructing a model that says, how can profit and nonprofit be in a space to offer sustainability, to complement each other? So we are really, really excited that this organic expression of the cultural center coming out of the bookstore is such a wonderful thing. But yes, before there were 2, and then there were a whole lot of people. I want to pick up all the young people too, and all the staff that walked with us over the 26 years. Wow. And the final thing I will say about this is when we took over a different book list, and it was a wonderful thing. Every day you're kind of happy. You're going to work. You're going to your shop, blah, blah, blah. And I remember one day walking through the door and looking at the staff, and suddenly it hit me. We are responsible for somebody's mortgage, somebody's ability to eat. We're responsible for their children or grandchildren's tuition. Right. And in that moment, it's not a kumbaya moment anymore. It's a real serious moment that hits you. And I remember saying to them, do you want to be employees owned? Because then I wouldn't be responsible for that. But it is in that magnitude. So for Black businesses out there in all your scales, medium size, big, little, everything, enough respect to you, enough respect to the people who work with you. Because to walk through a door and to think, this isn't about you. This isn't just about your family, but this is also too about other people who are engaged and who share a common interest to make whatever it is that you are doing in
Yes.
service a successful thing. So I rest my case on that one. Louis?
We're
No,
talking
no, no.
about
You
the
know what?
village.
You know
The
what?
village.
I
The
hear what
village.
you say.
Ringing the bell. Ring the
No, no,
bell.
no, no.
Ring the bell.
No,
Sorry,
it's
sorry, sorry.
important
I'm
what
going to
she's
add a hand
doing.
there. Sorry, sorry, Louis.
No, no, it's important what Itah said about the response,
Mm-hmm.
the social responsibility
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
our own people, the independence.
Yeah.
But it's also providing a reservoir or an oasis of knowledge
Mm-hmm.
and education.
Yeah.
And to be part of that is so important because a lot of people have been engaged in toxic learning about our history, our
Mm-hmm.
experiences. It's been very toxic. And
Yes.
we've passed it down from generation to generation. And finally, we have a place where people can come and we can detox. And
You can be emancipated. Come on now.
yes, I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there.
Yes. Sorry,
Right.
sorry, sorry, sorry.
So when Bob talks about none but ourselves can free our minds,
Mm-hmm.
a different book list, the cultural center, this is where you go. No hospital, no doctor,
Come
no
on now.
pharmacy.
Yeah, people come to the space into the whether it be the bookstore or the cultural center to feel good. I know lots of people who just show up and they get there and they feel good. I even know this one lady, Bello. I think her name is Bello, and Bello is from Russia. Bella's from Russia, and she comes and she visits the space. And every time she comes, she says, "I come because it makes me just feel good." She's not even out of our community, but she comes to feel good. And here's a really cool thing. And Bella is at this book launch. And she's at this book launch, and it's the first time that we are kind of like really speaking with Bella. And Bella says, "Do you know what I did in my life?" Okay, what did you do? Let me guess. Okay, fine. She says, I'm a person who designed like the 747 or some kind of plane like that. And the woman standing next to her says, "Oh, my stars, my husband is flying one of them right now." Now, how cool is that at the People's Residence that, you have that intersectionality that just took place?
You see,
Yeah.
this is what I love. I am loving this conversation already because just the name, the People's Cultural Center, and Louis were alluding to it, that the Cultural Center, as we have started this conversation on emancipation, is a place of emancipation.
Yeah.
That's when I hear it, when I
Exactly.
see it,
Yeah.
when I
Yeah.
hear and see and experience the cultural center, that's what I see. Emancipation. It's a freedom, it's a healing that is happening. And so as we get into this,
Mhm.
you know, for both of you, you are doing this piece on emancipation. But what is when we speak to emancipation in Canada, because we know the conversation that not many people understand even emancipation, far less the need to have emancipation in Canada. Can you share with those watching live and on the replay what is emancipation? Who wants to take this one?
I
No,
like
there was
Louis go because he's sitting in the resource center right now.
Itah. State secrets.
Right. So, right. Oh, snap.
State secrets. You know what? 1834, Emancipation Day was August the 1st, declared. Freedom from chattel and plantation slavery across the British Empire. And all of a sudden, people wake up and you're free, you're free, you're free. So Emancipation Day was written in the books, but Emancipation Day has to be more than Emancipation Day. It's emancipation of these people from the brutality, the criminality of plantation slavery. So freedom was at hand. And I say at hand because for many people it was not embraced, and for many people it was still denied. So today, as we recognize and celebrate Emancipation Day, we have to dig deeper. What did it really mean for us?
Mm-hmm.
What was our new roles and responsibility to move this forward? Were we still dependent on the master to free us, or were we going to do it ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
Because what was written into law means nothing if it's not delivered in action and
Yes.
substance. So Emancipation Day is about recognition of that particular declaration. But we as a people, where do we go with this?
And to be clear, that, no one emancipated us, to just be clear.
Come on now.
It is our resistance, and Brother Louis is on point. It is our resistance and resilience that got us to that emancipation moment. Talk about the Clement Payne movement, man in Barbados in 1937, uprising. Talk about Busta. You talk about Marie Angelique Joseph in Montreal, moments of resistance. People resisted along the way. And so it is really important that our children understand that it is a responsibility of a generation to move things to another generation. And when we look at our calendar year, and because our history is largely lost, stolen, and strayed, and appropriated somewhere, and all of that madness, we also, when we look at the calendar year, what are those days that have our name on them? What are those days that we have contributed to the recognition or that particular date? And I remember too, as a kid growing up in Barbados, Barbados was a sugar economy and a sugar cane economy. We lived in front of a sugar factory. So you understood the economics of how the sugar industry operated. But came August 1st now, something else happened now. You saw the Africanness now of the nation kind of kick in. You saw a spirit came on the land, a spirit that wasn't there like July 30th, but suddenly a spirit that is in people's DNA. As people took to carnival, people took to plaiting the maypole, people took to reenacting the land ship, people took to indigenous arts, all kinds of different things. You saw this expression and the spirit come over people, that they remembered that this day was a significant day, that throughout history, people resisted, people fought for, people died, all that kind of stuff. So emancipation for me growing up was really significant, because it seems as though it was in that moment too we claimed or tried to hang on to that navel string of our Africanness as a people. And then there is the question all the time, emancipation is not something that is stagnant, but something that you're always in search on, because there's so many things to be emancipated from. Right? When the bookstore, a different book list, first started with Wesley Critchlow, it was a moment of emancipation for LGBTQ community who came out of the African Canadian community or the Caribbean community. And then we came into the marketplace and added to that. And there was an emancipation of even more Caribbean literature and more children's literature. So emancipating in different ways. Now we're faced with homelessness and so many other things that we now have to emancipate, or mental health issues, all these things that we have to emancipate. But so that I don't suck up all the oxygen, but a lot of those things too are tied to the trauma that we experienced too during the enslavement period, and the residue and remnants of that are still very much alive today.
And that is so true, because, when Louis and I were talking, we've had some conversations. We are, as a community, are bleeding while leading, and we're not, and we haven't been really healed, and and it's trickling down and it's manifesting in everyone, from the elders coming down generationally and transgenerationally. It's coming down. And, when you still think about, and I know, Louis, you have experienced this in the schools, and Itah, you too, that there are young people that don't even understand about slavery, the history of Black people in Canada, and the fact that we were enslaved as a people, and there were more of us brought over from Africa, than people realize. What is one of the surprising things that you have heard, Louis, when you have been going around and speaking to young people in the schools and in the community centers?
I think one of the things that really strikes me, and I'm going to say it's criminal,
Hmm.
is the clawback of Emancipation Day, what it was about. 40 acres and a mule on Monday, but by Friday we're taking it back,
Mm.
right? It's the misrepresentation of the history in the history books, in the narratives, in the media. Our children don't have a fighting chance to understand their history. If when they go to the history class in school, they're told that Christopher Columbus was a great explorer. But if you speak to the Taino, if you speak to the Arawaks and the Caribs,
Hmm.
they will tell you that Christopher Columbus was a state-sponsored pirate responsible for the extermination of a race of people.
Yes.
So it's this continued big lie. And our children, unless they have alternatives, such as the cultural center or events like this,
Hmm.
internalize this believing that our history, whether it's on the African continent or even within North America, was zero or below. So the biggest challenge for us, right, is correcting that big lie and not pressing the pause button once. Right? That is the big challenge that we have, is that the school system continue to perpetuate this lie about our history.
Hmm.
And am I counting on them to correct themselves? No. Am I counting on a different book list? Yes. Am I counting on myself? Am I counting on you? Yes.
Yes.
Because we have to make this right. So that is the biggest challenge that I see when it comes to Emancipation Day. But not only Emancipation Day, it's our Africanness, our history, our tradition, our beliefs.
And we still struggle with craziness. You
Mhm.
know, our scholars document, and you'll get the question, who validates that? Is
Come
that
on now.
accurate? You know, people will ask you these things. And then you get equally sad when your children receive the information about their contributions to history, how
Mhm.
great they are as a people. And then they would say, is it true? Oh my gosh. And then your heart sinks, you know, that even your children now are questioning whether, in fact, that they are as capable as we're telling them that they are.
Yes.
These are the things that you see. And then there is the fear, you know, also too, of parents. I don't know if I want them to learn all that history thing because I don't know if they're gonna really help them. And you know, so now you are embarrassed or there's a
Yes.
fear of knowledge of this thing. So you want to erase what has happened before. So many things to, you know what, in a day, the pressure of emancipation. You get up in the morning and you got to start emancipated. Like, you know, you got, I always say, my first moment of conflict is the here. And once
Yeah.
again, I've got to present my here for somebody else's imagination, not my imagination, somebody else's.
Talk about it.
Africa, America, you just kill off everybody with this thing, with this thing, right? And then there's my shadism now. Oh my
Yes.
God, I got to now present that in another form, in another fashion. I even got out the door yet, right?
I hear. Yeah.
On and on this thing goes of where you fit in the world. I want to big up people too, like the author Natasha Henry and folks like that.
Yes.
Also too, and Dr. Wafua Cooper, so many people, Althea Prince, go on and on, Dion Brand, all our writers. But I want to big up Natasha Henry in particular in documenting things like Emancipation Day, celebrating freedom in Canada. And back, she came back again and came with another book for younger students called Talking About Freedom. And these are all based in a Canadian context. Because when you go to educators and you're talking about your history and they say, well, where's the evidence? Right? Where's the evidence?
We always have the facts. Yes. The proof. Mm-hmm.
Here are the documents. And you can't question our scholars. You can't question our writers. You know, they were schooled like you. But here again, you have to prove yourself that you are just as good as. So many things that you still have to emancipate. But emancipation, too, is courage, Nicole. Emancipation is a lot of courage. And emancipation is courage to push back, just to push back in a society. When I think of Dudley Laws, when I think of Charles Roche, these are people who emancipated their minds a long time ago in taking on the establishment. You have to have that kind of particular mindset too when you're speaking of emancipation. Brother Louis is involved in the zero gun violence. That takes a lot of courage to be in that space, in that conversation. Another moment too of emancipation.
And I love the way where you're going with this, Itah and Louis, because you know what society will tell us keeps us in this enslaved mindset. We are traumatized when we wake up, not even walking in our own identity. And our young people are denying who they are and seeing, I need to be like this. And it's interesting how we have been socialized to deny our own self in these little subtle ways that is not subtle. It's like how, for me, one of the things, like for me, is like how we say there's no racism in Canada. And because it's so subtle at times, right? Whereas when you go to the United States, it's right in your face. This one doesn't like this one. This doesn't like one, doesn't like that one. And so sometimes as adults and young people, I remember coming here and I was, I'm in Canada. And this is da 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 da. I was 19 and I was young and I was fresh and clean, and I'm up here and I'm like, and then, I got my job in the first week. And then, you make friends with everybody. And then you start realizing, wait, they're really smiling with me, but they're really not smiling with me. And when I experienced the racism, I was shocked because I didn't expect it, because it was like, this is the land of milk and honey, that we all come together in a kumbaya kind of moment. And we're not kumbaya at all.
Yeah. And to know the history too of Sir George Williams University and what happened there, and the history of the Rosie Douglas and those people who resisted and pushed back, and how that connection is with the whole Black Power movement that took place in Trinidad and Tobago and in the Caribbean, and how those things are connected into this Canadian history and this Canadian landscape.
And it must become like when I think Joan Pierre said that the parents did not pass it on.
Yes.
But if the parents did not know better, how could they pass it on?
Yeah.
Because they were products of a system that were still perpetuating the big lie. So we have to unravel. We have to go back in history, and we have to make it right. But also we have to make sure that we're not one step forward, two steps backwards.
Yeah.
And there's too many people out there.
Yeah.
On this battlefield.
Yeah.
There's too many people resisting and fighting back.
Yeah.
We need to support them.
Yeah.
And we must be part of this freedom train.
And you know what? I'm glad that we jumped on that. And because this is where the balance too is. You got to talk about the victories. And I always go back to Kana, who worked with us. And Kana was new. He was from West Africa. And, he hear all the chat in the cultural center all day. And then suddenly one day he jacked me up and he says, Ms. Itah, where are the victories? What are the victories in Canada? I hear all the da, 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 da. But where are your victories? Oh my gosh, snap, snap, snap. Because you see, oppression can consume you. And when it does, that's when they're winning. That's when they're winning, because that's part of the journey to paralyze you, to make you continue to re-examine yourself, reimagine yourself, all that kind of stuff. Be reaccountable to yourself. All that kind of stuff. But here's the thing now. Maybe what it is when you start someone's history from a position of a deficit. So we start at the enslavement period. We don't go before. But even along the way, even when we talk about those pockets of resistance, those slave rebellions as they're called, that's important to tell our kids. That's what we got to teach them so that they can see the victories. Because sometimes young people listen to us and they can't see where the needle has moved, even if it's just a little bit. So it is really important for us to balance with the train ride. One of the victories that I think that we have going on is that we were able to attract people from across the diaspora.
Yes.
We were very conscious in coming into this train ride that Canadians and African Canadians and Black Canadians who have lived here for many generations, you've been to Windsor, you've been to all those spaces on the border there. You had great picnics, great days of emancipation. Thousands and thousands of people and families would go. You would go to Central Island and places in the city and experience and celebrate Emancipation Day in Canada. And then 67 came and the sexy big carnival came. And that really changed things, you know? People had to make a decision. Do I go and jump up and party, young people? Or do I go to this thing, which then begin to seem as a more somber thing? And also, too, we came with our Caribbeanness and ism, eh? So we are excited that we are able to bring these nations of African Canadians together. The people who brought the carnival, and to use Roger Gibbs's expression, carnival, the most public expression of emancipation.
And it is.
The continent. We're happy that people figure that at 11 o'clock in the night, they're going to bring a baby, you know, or they probably might give birth in the train. Okay, I know we were waiting for that too. Right? But here is the thing, that is an incredible moment as African people, of African Canadians, that we had to consider as a committee. Who are we going to attract? And we didn't want to attract one group and not the other group and go down that kind of crazy road, but to say to people, here is a moment that you can come and love up all over yourself. Think about who you are, but at the same time, you could have a togetherness moment that is pretty cool and imaginative.
Well, let me get a little Trini on you for a minute here, you know. Let's reverse back a second, you know, for those who don't know what, you know, we don't say reverse in Trinidad, we say reverse back, you know.
Back up in Barbados.
Back up. So let me back up a second here. Now, this emancipation business, you know, we talk about carnival and, you know, we celebrate our carnival in Trinidad and around the world as we celebrate our emancipation. And so you, Miss Itah, in your all infinite wisdom, yes, I'm going to pick you up tonight because I think when God was out wisdom, he was sitting by his feet and saying, me, hey, over here, hello, I'm right here, right? Just pour it on, I'm taking it. So, yeah. And you have this courage and this boldness and this peopleism. Yes, that is a word, peopleism. I coined that tonight. If somebody else has coined it, I don't know who. And you came up with this idea for a freedom train on Emancipation Day. Let's go into the history, the true history of the freedom train here in Toronto, Canada, with Miss Itah. But I know you dream in color. But what happened? You were sitting down watching the lake. How did you come up with this concept?
I once told my daughter that the subway was the Underground Railroad. I once told her because a child had asked that question and the mother had said, no, it isn't. It's a subway. And I told my daughter, oh, no, they're wrong. It's the Underground Railroad, right? And so, you know, when you tell children things, they will haunt you. They'll come back and say, hey, by the way, you know, water, the sea isn't blue, it's colorless. Okay, fine. Right? And then one day, it was Harriet Tubman's it would have been the 100th anniversary of Harriet Tubman and or her passing. It was a significant thing. And a box came and taking the books of Harriet Tubman out. And suddenly my brain said, snap! Like this was going to be an exciting thing to like steal away and to now make the subway the Underground Railroad. And so I called up like some people and I go, you know, a bubble, you know, what do you think? And they go like, no, it take 10 years. You know, who's going to do that? And again, you see, this is where the oppression is. And this is where the nay kicks in. No, it's never going to happen. You know, they're going to say no. So we begin to talk ourselves out of the success because we forgot the moments of resistance.
Pause break. Do not talk yourself out of success. This is by Itah Sadu. Please write that down in the comments. Do not talk yourself out of your success. On pause, moving on. Go ahead.
Right. So they were talking themselves out of success and whatever. So the third person I called was Brother Louis. And I say, Brother Louis, and Brother Louis says, send me the flyer. I'll send it out. Well, he didn't even challenge. He saw the vision. He was in the moment. He understood history. He saw that this is something that was impossible but possible. And then I called Veronica Sullivan, and she was like, "Oh my God, this is so good. Like, God, when can we meet?" Oh, that dang. And one after one, you see, when you plan something and you organize something, when people jump on and they begin to tell you this can't happen, that's not those people for this idea. I believe that when people hear an idea and they're ready for it, those are the people who are going to take it home. But if
Come
you
on now.
start to doubt in your mind, you're going to infect the other people. And because it's so easy for us to talk ourselves out of success, one of the things I'm fascinated about, and I'm going to say this and I'm going to let it over to Louis, is this is the International Decade of African People, right? And every time that I go into a meeting, I still always feel like people waiting, like we waiting for like it gonna come from Mars, like something gonna come from Mars, and we're gonna say, yes, Decade of African People. You know, Barbados is going to shift and move on top of St. Lucia, and we're gonna say, yes, the Decade of African People. Or the government miraculously going to fly Transport Canada over Black communities and just drop endless millions of dollars. Yes, that's the African Day. But what about the meetings that you've gone to? What about the collaborations that you have built? What about the people who have been fed during COVID by Black-led organizations?
Come on
What
now.
about the simple things that we have celebrated? What about the dance companies that still perform dance over electronic platforms and found a way of doing that? It is all those simple little things that adds up that makes the International Decade of African People wonderful and sexy and possible. But we are always waiting for this big moment to be emancipated. Louis didn't see it that way. Veronica didn't see it that way. Yolanda and the committee, there were people who saw a bigger vision and had the courage to say, bring it on. Louis.
Yeah, no. You know something? So I don't like these dependency relationships where you're depending on others for your success. We have to create, manifest, and make success happen ourselves.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
look, the Jewish people do not go to the Germans and say to them, "Can you tell me what happened in the Second World War? Can you tell me what happened in the camps?" They don't do that. But we go to the same people that enslaved, brutalized, criminalized our people for 400 years and said, "Can you tell us about our history?" It doesn't make any sense. So yes, they're going to tell us how they came to Africa and they saved us, right? They're not going to tell us anything about our contribution to civilization before they even touch soil in Africa. So when Itah makes that point,
So what made you say yes to Itah then? What made you say yes?
because this is about resistance, right? Anything where we are going to resist, and we're going to be adamant about telling our story in creative, imaginative ways, I'm with it. When she says the TTC train to me, I'm saying, well, okay, they might not give us the train, but regardless if they give us the train or not, we're going to take the train anyway. So either they work with us,
Going on the train.
either you work with us and allow this to happen, or we're just going to take over a train. Like we find ways to make things happen. We don't find excuses not to make it happen. That's what that phone call was about. How do we make this happen? Not how do we find ways why it cannot happen. How to make it happen.
So for people who've never been on the Emancipation Freedom Train, right? Describe this.
Oh God.
Wait. Okay, no, describe the event and then I'm going to play something. Give us a little, taste of what is this thing? And
Well,
let's take us back to year one. What is it? Tell us about the train, the freedom.
Well, I think the year one when Louis
So
and I and the committee were going there, we had no idea. We had no idea what it was going to look like. I think I remember our daughter asking, like, are we the only people going? Well, girl, if it's only the 10 of us, you know what? We've made history. We've done this. You can't have what if stories. You're at a party and somebody says, what if? Excuse me, Nicole, I think I'm just going to go over here and speak to Joan. You know, like, what if, like, your story didn't happen? Oh, you know what? What if? I think I'm just going to go over here and speak to Sarah. And by the way, Wendy, what if you have no story?
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
So, so we didn't know, but we were there and we were present and we were very excited. And we knew that, right, Louis, that we had to get aboard the back of the train in like 3 seconds, 30 seconds. When that train pulled in, you know, Black people, you got to jump onto that back of that train and you got to do you know, and like, oh my God, can we sing loud? And here's the thing. We also got to give a big shout out, enough respect to the former counselor, Josh Cole, because when his eardrum received the words and the request to imagine this thing, his eardrum communicated that message to the other drum, which was the heart. So he didn't think about it, you know, with the head at that moment. I think he saw the importance of it because he thought with his heart. He had feeling about it. So respect to that. But we didn't know, and we were pretending to be cool and knowing that we just got to get on this train. But when we got there were 3 little old ladies already there from Oakville, right, Louis? There were these 3 little old ladies, and everybody was asking the same question, which we knew they were going to ask. Where's the train? I know they ain't a train, but I'm just telling people the train, but ain't a train. You can, because we doubters, we got to see it. We got to see it. I don't know anybody in the cloud, but we believe the cloud. But on that night, it was fascinating to see people's, because curiosity brought people. I would say that, Louis. Then the drummers, then Osazi. We just met Osazi today. So Osazi became a new member to the committee because he had drums. he drummed his way into the committee, right? So he showed up with like 3 drummers, and Coco Murray and a group of dancers were coming from a rehearsal, and they dropped in. So now the dancers and the drummers started blazing, and then wheel-trans came, and people with walkers. So like, this does now see, and everybody said he's CFT with the train. So of course our panic goes to all-time panic because 10 people we could manage, but now, and everybody wants to see. Right now, they want to see the train. You see? People get emancipation at different times and in different moments across history. And then suddenly it looked as though 10 trains came. And all these people from our community, everybody that we know, came out. And the first thing they said, Louis, was what? Where's the train? By that time, we in high panic now because this crowd is
getting bigger.
I think the first year we had about 800 people.
And then CBC came. And we went national live. Oh my God. Well, that was even more crazy then. But you know what is beautiful about my people? When our people get together, they're at their best. They give up their best. What I like about the leadership of our team is that they work well together. And we got to manage time. It's a time thing. You know, you can't be late. Late don't happen. Late, you're left behind. So I was particularly proud to see how quickly we could think and manage time. And then they said, because they saw there were so many people and we clearly couldn't get on the train with all these people in 30 seconds, they said, come downstairs. And we thought we were in trouble when they said, like, you could come to the little room. And we thought, oh my God, they've lost their mind. It was ours. And then they showed us the train and the tunnel, and it said freedom train or emancipation train. And we screamed. And this was the moment. This was the moment of the impossible be impossible. And to see people come downstairs and to be hot. You're not hot. You're in the middle passage. So get this. So now your imagination's now got to work. And to tell all those people to be quiet from Union Station to St. George, and they are quiet. Wow. I think that just overwhelmed us. And we knew
I think Wendy said it's an emotional experience.
Yes.
Because you're amongst your people.
Yeah.
You hear the drumming, the music.
Yeah.
You're on the train.
Yeah.
It's like a religious event.
Yeah.
Right? It's like a religious event.
Yeah.
People just came, and
it was.
I forgot to mention that on the first day, the first time we did it, the first year,
the white woman,
people showed up at 10:30 a.m.
That's right. I forgot that.
Thinking that it was 10:30.
Yeah.
Right. So she got a phone call, and we had to send a delegation down to Union Station to tell them that it's 10:30 p.m.
Yeah. All these
And
little
that's
old
when we
ladies.
started saying, what did we get ourselves into?
Yes.
Because they're showing up 12 hours in advance. We got a problem.
Yes. We had to give them TTC tickets to come back because we felt so bad that they're showing up. And again, let me train. I know there was a train. And, you know, but also too, there was the white woman. Remember that? So the first year now, everybody's getting on the train. And I don't even think that we knew that the train wasn't going to stop. I don't even think we knew that. And so she's getting on the train and we say to her, I don't know if you were getting on the right train. And she says, oh, yeah. No, I'm on the right train. And she insisted when she saw that the train wasn't stopping. It wasn't stopping. I think she decided, look, I'm just going to get right into this thing. I'm going with it. Do you know what? That woman has brought her family. She's come back almost every year. We've met her parents, her children, her whatever. And she says every time, remember me? I'm the white woman who got on the wrong train and talked to people. But here's the thing.
The event itself, it's
everybody.
800 started. I think the last time we had about 1,200.
Yeah.
We've had to battle. Well, not battle, because TTC, at the rate it was going. So I remember one meeting where they called us in to talk to all the executives about how we were going to secure, control 800, 1,200 people on the train.
Oh, all right.
So I and myself show up in this meeting, and we've got about like 10, 12 people dressed in suit and tie and all white, looking at us. So we walk into the room to tell them about the Freedom Train because they've heard about it now, and now they want to be a part of the success, or they want to challenge whether or not we could continue it. And we were prepared to the T. There's nothing that one of the guys asked the questions, you know, like the train might, suppose something happens to it and it interrupts the regular train service, right? What plan do you have to deal with that? So Itah just quickly said, well, if that happens, we're all going to get out, 800 of us, and we're going to push the train along the tracks, right? So these people, like there's nothing that they threw at us that threw us kilter, right? By the time we were finished that meeting, we could have asked for 2 trains, 3 trains, it would have happened, right? Because they realized that we had all the bases covered. We had security, we had a program, we had politicians, we had everybody that had signed on. So instead of finding a reason to derail the train, they jumped on board.
Yeah, I mean, to say to a corporation, and a significant corporation, this is the largest transit system in this country, and on the question of security, but to say to them, we have thought about that. This is our security, the head of our security team, and we work with Abel and with Dave. Oh my God, who would kill me now that I can't think what his last name is.
Dave
Mitchell. And they're our security team. So it is great pride to say you don't have to speak to us as a committee. Here's the head of security, and this person comes with all of that trappings of the society, and they're looking after that. Here's the head of our medical team, and here are all the doctors and nurses that run with us. So you're not asking us to go and you need to get this in place. We're telling you, here is Nicole. Nicole is the head. She's a doctor. And she knows all the people on the train that are medical. And here are the midwives. So in case you get them giving birth. So the midwives rolled one year. So we tried really.
And you had the preacher for the wedding. You had the preacher for the renewing of the vows. Come on now.
Right.
Yeah, come on now.
We really tried to think that if we are going to execute an event, what is the safety factor that is involved? What are the teams and the expertise that we can bring out of the committee that can also to speak with the transit and with the TDC. Over the years, almost every staff person of the transit who have worked on the train have signed on that night to work. They participate. When I see them outside of the train ride at their different stations and booth, it's a different conversation. It's like, hey, let me let you in free, you know. Like,
come. Yes.
But in serious,
come in.
That is a serious testimony to with the good working relationship and the teamwork, I should say, that has been established between the committee and the officers of the transit that are assigned to work with us over the years.
But that's what you've done. You have emancipated people. You have emancipated people in their thinking, in their way of looking, even from the skepticism of it, right? And then you've taken an entity, a
Mhm.
corporation like the TTC, and said, hey,
Yeah.
and they now are able to see us in a different light, not from a place of fear,
Yeah.
but of a place of coming together. And that
Mm-hmm.
is supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, if I
Yeah.
can find another word.
Francis Jeffers once told me many, many years ago that his family, they celebrate the principles of Kwanzaa in the morning and at breakfast
Hmm.
so that you can incorporate those elements in your everyday activities. And I
Right.
thought, how cool is this? Because oftentimes we do it at the end of the day, dinner.
Yeah.
But here, and when Karen Murray said, think about the nighttime, because we're thinking now, when would Harriet Tubman too also rock her stuff?
Come on
But
now.
but when you welcome in Emancipation Day, and people have had that experience, then it must inform their conversation during the course of the day. Something you must do different in that day because you've been impacted by this thing that has captured your imagination in the night. To get off a train and 1,200 people, 800 people all sing the Black National Anthem together. The drummers drum. People sometimes like they don't want to leave. And
Yeah.
they only
Oh yeah,
leave
that's another big problem. After the train ride, we can't get the people home
yeah,
because
yeah.
the last train is leaving. We have to figure this out. When is the
Thank God for
last
last
train
grade.
leaving? That
Yes.
we let the people know that there's no lingering here, right? Like this is planned to the minute,
yeah,
so we know when the last train is leaving. We know when we have to stop. We know because some people have to get back to Union Station where they're parked and whatever.
yeah,
Like everything is planned to the minute. But yes, how do we do this and make it seem seamless?
yeah,
But the
yeah,
amount of preparation and planning before,
yeah, yeah,
right, gives
yeah.
us the confidence that we're on the right track.
And no one over the years have ever asked us what's happening next. Oh, I love that about people, like nobody has said like, okay, so what's the next thing you guys are going to
Yeah.
do?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
there is this incredible trust factor that whatever is coming, it's it's coming. Oh my gosh, So those are the moments. I think when we had the wedding, oh my gosh, I thought at the wedding I was going to be just crushed with the journalists, And then when we reenacted the birth of the baby, there was a whole nother thing going on. But again, when we talk about our history, when we talk about the oppression, what moments of our family life will we also speak to? It's like Sharon Flake, the author, being asked one day, "Where did you grow up?" And she says, "Oh, I grew up in the project somewhere in America." And somebody asked, "So what was that like?" And this is what she said: "We had birthdays, we celebrated Thanksgiving. Some days we played soccer. I went swimming.
I love it.
Right? So here are the moments too when we can celebrate our family life, the
Yes.
things what we do. I'm not going to say that Louis' birthday is August 1st. Did I say that on my bad? Oh shoot! I'm right. You're going to edit that out. It's not. Yeah.
Huh.
Right? Senator Bernard
Bernard.
Bernard. Yeah,
Thomas. Yeah.
her birthday is August 1st. So we've had birthday parties at the same time. But what are the human moments? The people along the Underground Railroad, they weren't just running.
Yeah.
They had to have had some moment where they told a joke, where there was something they smiled at.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is the humanity you also to want to bring to the people. Yeah.
And you're going into year 10, right? And next year. And so we're in year 9, we're on the cusp of it. But this year, you have a particular theme about the fire within. As you focus on the element of fire and power to rekindle and transform and inspire. Tell us a little bit about that theme for this year as we get ready in the next few days to emancipate ourselves. A little more.
Yeah, no, I think the important thing here is so every year we do have a theme. And this year, a blazing fire was the original thought.
Hmm.
But then we had the blazing fire that inspired, that kept us going. Then we had the fires out west, and we said we need to tone down blazing fire. And then we flipped it and said, the fire within. The fire within. What is that driving force that drove people like Harriet Tubman, right, to do their work? Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X. Where did that fire come from? The fire within that drove them, inspired them to do what they were doing. And we said, hold on a second. We all have the fire within us. And when you go through daily 24/7 oppressive and racist systems, that fire gets dimmed. That light gets dimmed. Harriet Tubman used the lantern as she went from house to house, safe house to safe house. That fire has been burning, and we want to make sure that it's not put out. So we're trying to reconnect the fire within now on an individual level. Where is your fire? What drives you? What inspires you? The Dudley Laws, the Charles Roaches, right? Rosemary Sadler, right? Jean Augustine.
Sharona Hall.
All these people, they stepped out of their comfort zones and they challenged and they resisted. And it had to come from a burning desire inside that this was the right thing to do. So it was easy to latch onto the fire within. And are you going to see that on display during this train ride? You're going to see it in very creative way. That's the thing about it, is that even though we talk about the fire within, don't be surprised at how we present it. But it's not going to be your traditional way, right? And that's the thing with the themes, whether it's the marriage, whether it's the birthing, whether it's the celebration.
Right.
We find unique ways to present this.
Mm-hmm. And this year you're going virtual because with the pandemic, you went virtual last year, right? And you're going virtual again this year. So as we're getting ready to wind down, I want people to know about what this year Itah is going to be about. You know, I know you're going to be a conductor, who's going to blow the whistle, who's going to perform and ting. And, you know, between the two of y'all, I might have some people I know that are going to be there too because I macro in on the side.
You know what? What we know that it is a very national conversation. I took note today that someone wrote and said, I really enjoyed last year because we heard from a global diaspora. Mm-hmm. This year we're national in conversation. We have voices from right across the country. So we're excited about that because it is National Emancipation Day this year. So there is that. And and show up, you know. I feel like I keep saying a lot, but you know, but the fire within it is very important. We are probably at one of the hottest moments in our lives right now in the world. There's volcanoes in St. Vincent, volcanoes in the Congo, everywhere. Fire burning. And as Louis said, there is that fire inside. You know what? A person that I would love to have been part of this experience is Tanka. Tanka, the keeper of the carnival arts. Tanka that blew fire. Tanka that could dance with fire. Tanka that at one point in his career could probably limbo under fire and come up again. Right? Every time that I think about this year's train ride, I go back to people like him who are keepers of some of those, that traditional carnival elements. So good people, I say on that night, you know, have your favorite, you know, fizzy water, right?
Yes, come on now.
Right? Have your families, you know, when you hear the music, you can sing along at the top of your voice. Make sure you stand in the national anthem. But you know what? I will go on record to say that everybody who watches the virtual Emancipation Freedom Train Ride, stand when we say stand for the national anthem. You can just be all the houses. Final thing I'm going to say on this. The Shouter Baptists, talking about fire within. One year the Shouter Baptists came, and they came with that chorus, there's a meat in here tonight. They went on fire, that they took out all of our songs. All we could see was the train going like this. And those women pumping those bells, And there's a meeting here tonight, remembering that one point in time in their history, those bells were silenced, their voices were silenced. So the fire came out of those women that it took over the whole spirit of the train. We couldn't cut them off. And you know what? You can never cut off spirit. And so we allow them to continue that fire that was within them. And that made that train ride real sweet, because indeed there was a meeting there that night.
And the
for those of
pandemic,
you
I'd
who
like to say,
Go ahead,
the pandemic has given us an opportunity to expand and become global. Like last year, we had inputs from across the world, right? So we didn't press the pause button. We didn't press the backup button, right? We didn't say wait until we get the train again.
Right.
We reimagined what we could do with it. And guess what? The world had a lot more to contribute. People had a lot more to contribute.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you that now that we've got that first year, the virtual under our belts, now stay tuned for the second year, because it's going to be even bigger and better in many ways. And moving forward between me and you, you're going to see some hybrid things. It has to be. We're going to have the physical and we're going to have the virtual combined. Like, I didn't tell Itah this yet, but hey,
leaning in.
But
this is good.
This is where we have to go. We have to think big, but make even bigger things happen. And with this Freedom Train and Emancipation Day, we have the platform. We can do it, and we will.
And you know what? You have to, because when I look at who you have as your whistleblower, Dr. Lynn Jones, and when you have Senator Wanda Thomas Bernard as your one of your conductors, and you're having performances by Randall Ajay. I mean, look at Randall.
He's the new provincial
poet laureate.
Yes,
you know.
And guess what? Randall was on our first train ride.
Second.
Second.
Yeah, second. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he was overwhelmed with when I looked at the video clip. But you know something? I look at it now. At our ninth annual, he's coming back.
And Andrew Craig is also too.
Andrew Craig performing Eddie Martinez, Amani Woods on the poetry. And you know, some of the things that I like is, you know, when you do the libation and you call the names. And you know, when our beautiful poet laureate before Randall, but in the federal part, when he did roll call.
Mercy.
Listen, let me tell you a little side story, you know.
Okay, please do.
When George wrote that, I was working at the Senate, right? And I'm going to try not to cry. And we got it. And then we were planning, I was literally planning the first big Black history event for the Senate. And we blew up the poster of roll call. And then I said, George, what about this person? He says, Nicole, we could add anybody. And he was just adding names and adding names. Listen, when you saw the posters we had, and then just picture, now look at that moment in time that he was the poet laureate. We were in the library that is being renovated now, so we couldn't even go there now. But he, at that part in history, was in the library and he was reading roll, and we were there. And I mean, it was a moment just watching him in that library, that Parliament of Canada, reading roll call. And so that's one of the things I love about when you guys do the roll call. And then the moment of silence where you get people to be, I don't know.
You want to try doing that on a train with 800, 1,200 people? And you could drop a pin and you can hear it.
Yeah, no,
and you know, you said something in the beginning where when they feel the heat, this stuck with me just now. When they feel the heat, they're feeling the heat of the passage. They're feeling the heat that our forefathers went through in that moment. They're feeling the heat of everything. And then they feel the freedom of where they're at. Like,
it's
indescribable.
It's in us. I mean, even if you watch people, the way they walk down the stairs, how measured they are. I mean, like they just go into this memory, your memory, of who you are and where you came from, where your navel string buried, or your four ancestors' navel string buried. So these are sort of the moments they get on the platform and people are, looking out for each other to be saved. Yeah, bring it on, but you can't complain. You're hot. There's no complaining.
Bring your fan.
There was a lot of fanning, but there was no complaining.
Bring your fan and your water. And so as we get to, I don't want to wrap up the conversation. I try and be cognizant of your time because you've been up late. I will go for 2 hours. Do we know me right now, right? We could go. We going in, right?
Yeah.
But I want Itah to come back, right? You see, I get Louis to come back. I need Itah to come back to the show another time. So as we wind down, tell me, in your beautiful self, how, as we look to the future, as we look to people in this time coming through this pandemic, dealing with all that we deal with, how do we emancipate ourselves? What is your word to the people in emancipating ourselves as we seek to move forward through what we're in right now?
I think Emancipation Day, we have to now link it with reparations. Emancipation without reparation does not make any sense. So we have to focus on making this right. But also, we also have to make it clear that emancipation, according to Bob Marley, we have to free our minds. We have to do it ourselves. And that's why a different book list, the Cultural Center, and those people that have gone before us have tried to make it right in terms of our history, but also to have those aspirations, those dreams again of being successful in what we do. We have done it before. So Emancipation Day is not about dependency on others. It's about independence.
I like that. Emancipation is about independence. What about your words, Itah? What would you say about emancipating ourselves and your words to the people?
I agree with Louis. It is about the independence. And I also think that we will emancipate too when we can even be more in love with each other as a people. When we stop, all those things, I'm always fascinated. I go to meetings, we all do, and we say all the things. We need to be more unified. We need to work better together. We are capable of doing this. All those wonderful things. I want us to just do them and really do them. Don't hold ourselves back. Work with people. You can disagree with people, but that's okay. That's healthy, But sometimes I still feel we haven't really emancipated from performative things. Louis has this thing about loving up with each other. He says, you can't love up Black people enough. I truly believe that. Sometimes we wake up in the morning, we so angry, and we go out in the world, we angry. We can't even remember what you're angry about. You mean that's how so conditioned we are. Sometimes then you roll up on a brother or a sister or there or whoever, and you're angry. You're angry with that person, or you're in a meeting and you can't just get along, or you got to prove a point. You got to be smarter. No, stop it. We don't have to do those things no more. That is where the society and the system of oppression makes us do those things. So I want to now enter spaces with my people where I feel that our ability to work together is a genuine one. We don't have to grandstand. And I want us to stop being the first of things. Don't say that you're the first of anything going forward. That's crazy talk. If in 2021 you're still the first of something, your children should be crying. But to think that you are the millionth person in a long line of Black African people and Caribbean who have been doing greatness forever.
Yes.
Sometimes when we talk, I think we forget that people run countries that look like us. They run banks that look like us. They run telecommunication systems that look like us. I remember taking Rudy Gurley, who was the former CEO of Cable and Wireless and maybe the Bank of St. Lucia, to a school here in the Jain community. And I remember wanting to say to him, lose the tie. You kind of look too expensive. You see that stereotype craziness. The man rolled up to the school. The students and him had a bang on rapport. And this is what a student asked him: "Can I touch you?" What? What? Madness from the whole school. And when he said, "Why would you want to touch me?" The student said, "Because we have never touched a real banker." This man came from St. Lucia,
Hey.
Canada. So who know here somebody gonna say them first, right? So when we get past the proud oppression of having to say to the master, we are at the top of the line. You don't have to be the top of the line. Leadership, as this little boy once told me, comes from the back of the line, in the middle, and at the sides. So if we could not say those things, but really do them, oh my God, what a sweeter world we would live in. Don't claim first. No, we have done such great things in this world. And every time that we claim first, it prevents us from recording into history the very simple things that are mighty, impactful things that we are doing in the International Decade of African People. And so when history is recorded, it will be said that on July the 26th, Louis March and Itah Sadu had a historic moment, not being the first, but being another group, another two, in a long line of over 60 interviews that the Victory Speak has had in the International Decade of African People. You see how big up that is now? Yeah, man.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right? Big up.
That's
So
a
we're
victory.
first to come to do nothing. We're in a long line of some other more brilliant people who have come before us and those people who are yet to come. Big up, big up, big up, enough respect.
Ita, you just
Mhm.
have this way of just making me sit, settle, and even go to another level of humility. Just walking in another way that,
Mhm.
I always tell people you can never be too humble.
Yeah,
Because the day that you're too humble, you should just be quiet.
yeah, yeah,
You just go somewhere else. Just really go somewhere else. And so
yeah.
you're on the Victory Speak show, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't leave the Victory Speak show and not tell me what does victory mean to you. So Louis, as the man, the king among the queens right now, what you see, I just start to dance, right? What does
Giving to you. Oh
what does
gosh.
victory mean to you?
Ah.
Now, you know something? Victory is about self determination,
Oh,
Mhm.
nice.
self actualization, and cutting those dependency strings.
Mm.
We have a program called the African Canadian Heritage Association that for 50 years they've been teaching African and Canadian history to children in our community. And for 50 years they refused to take a dollar from from any government institution. That's self-determination. And the children that have come out of that program, I see them today, right? Aisha Wickham, you know, Simmons that does First Fridays, Tando Hyman. These are the people
Yes,
that came out of that program,
yes.
right? And a lot of people are going to swear at me because I didn't mention their name. But there's so many of them that came through that program
Mhm.
that are now leaving their imprints wherever they go because we decided that we were going to determine our existence and our success or our failure. So 50 years later, the program's still going, African Canadian Heritage Association.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
Veronica Sullivan is one of the stalwarts there at that program. But it's about self-determination. That's what victory looks like to me. When we can say we
Yeah.
did it because of us, not because of them.
I
Ashe,
love that.
ashe, ashe. Nice.
Ashe, yes.
I know
So
when you said that, but the thing that went in my brain is victory is mine. Victory is mine. Victory today is mine.
I love that song.
I told Satan to get thee behind. Victory today is mine. Oh my God, my mother would love me so much right now. Because I just did that. All the ancestors saying, big up, big up, big up, big up. What is victory? Victory right now for me is that in 2022, when we open the People's Residence at 756 Bathurst Street, and we can say with pride that we are in this moment because of the generosity of our community,
Mhm.
because of the vision of our people, because of the support of allies, and that this institution will be a place where young people can come and imagine and reimagine the world that they are desirous to live in.
Mhm. Mhm.
That is what I see as the victory. And that when we look at the institution, we are going to see the next generation of experts and competence leading this building, taking on this institution, moving the center to a whole nother level. And victory will be this, that they will never say that they're first. And victory will be this, that we will never stay too long at the fair. And victory will be this, because we've always all signed on never to talk ourselves out of success, because we are still working with that fire that is within.
The victory is never to talk ourselves out of success. Look, Louis and Ita, what you guys are doing with the team to put on this emancipation train, and the fact that you have, that P word, I'm not going to swear, that pivoted in the pandemic, you still found purpose. You were purposeful in the pandemic, right?
Okay.
Right? You were productive in the pandemic,
All right
right?
then.
Right? And we need the people to come out in the pandemic with their families. They need to come on to the whole thing. Bring your family, bring a drink and a punch of creamer, bring whatever you need to bring.
Have a
Dress,
picnic in your living room.
dress up, Send
Yes,
us send
that'd
us
be
a
nice.
send us an Instagram post.
Yeah,
We
Yes.
need to see you active, right? And you need to do hashtag the freedom train.
Listen,
I'm
you're
on
hired.
the
You're,
freedom
you're
train.
hired.
Listen, we want the freedom train to be trending from the 31st to the 1st. You understand? Yes, I'm screaming. I know I on a mic. My son always tells me, why are you screaming? You have a mic in front of you. But I'm excited, right? Because victory today is mine. We're going on the freedom train from tonight. You understand? We
Yeah.
getting the frocks ready. We getting the clothes ready. Who gonna have the corn soup? Wendy going to be on the pan. The corn
Yes.
soup fella going to be somewhere. Somebody need to go and get a food truck and tell us where we can meet up after,
Yes.
right? We're going
Yes.
up here. I hope you're online. We're going in the pan yard because at least, if we could have different limes and different pan yards across the city, right? A
I know
hundred
that
here
you live in
and
this
100
world.
here, right? 100 in pan fantasy, 100 in Afro pan, you know. I created another event.
Right. Well, you know
I
what?
created commercial.
Beautiful.
We
don't
want
worry.
somebody in Nova.
I'm
We want
taking
the
notes, Nicole.
families
I'm taking
to
notes.
tell us where you're tuning in from. If you're in Nova Scotia, where's the
Yeah.
lime in Nova Scotia? Where's the lime in Vancouver? Where's the line in Victoria, BC
Yeah.
on the island? Where are you coming from? You need to tell us so people will understand the power of emancipation. That, at the beginning of the show, we talk about, we played Bob Marley, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. And this emancipation train, this freedom train ride, and when we looked at as on March of this year, but it took 20 something years for, when I look at Rosemary Sadler, beating the iron, beating the pot to make sure that this declaration was official, not just something that just dear, but it's something that we don't have to fight for every year, that it is going to be in the Canadian books, in the history, that Emancipation Day must be acknowledged every year. And from then on, listen, look what we did in a pandemic. Imagine 10 years in 2022. So get your taste now, get your bottle and your spoon, right? We're going to have the mayor come in, the chief diversity and cultural officers from the TTC, Keisha Campbell, going to be there, Randall Ajay going to be there. Let me play a little song while I'm talking here. There's a meeting here tonight. There's a meeting coming up, right? That you need to be a part of. Dr. Lynn Jones, the African Nova Scotia leader, is going to be with us. The senator is going to be with us, and you are going to be with us as we go on the emancipation train. Angela is saying that the meetup after is at the Scarborough Town Center for Pan and Calypso. Look thing going on. Look thing going on. And in the daytime,
Angela,
go
coming
to
with you.
Scarborough Town Center and go and support the black owned
Huh.
business that has 150 black businesses in it. So on the 31st, go shopping, buy a
Yes.
frock, buy something from the chef
Yes.
Amanda who's in there. And then so when you show up, you see pictures flooding the timeline. Twitter must want to know what's going on. Instagram must want to go what going on. And all let us talk about Facebook. Let Facebook be interested in what is happening. We're going to be fast up in the place. We want them to know they're going to emancipate
We
themselves.
definitely got to talk to you.
Listen, I on the freedom train, right? I am just excited. And I am going to end the show tonight and I'm going to show you a little bit about the Emancipation train. For those of you who haven't been on the Emancipation train, you find it was too hot, you couldn't get there, you forget, it's okay. We're going to give you a little taste tonight as we leave you. Itah, Louis, and I are grateful for you. You're hearing Redemption song, but you're hearing it in a different way. This is Richard Bona. Now, I don't own the rights to this song, but I'm playing it anyways. Right? Sarah, stop it. Yes, I see Hyperman. I hype in this thing because
No,
if you don't
I'm telling
know-
you got game. No,
Listen.
we got to talk to you. We got to get all those people trending up that timeline.
listen, Itah, I'm telling people now, do not call me on the 31st unless you're bringing a pot of food to my house with some drinks and make sure you wear a mask. And I'm just telling you, if you're not vaccinated, don't come to my house because we're not taking any risks right now. I want to be on the freedom train. So tonight, any last words before we play the video so they can get a little taste? And then, we're going to be out of here. We're going to show them a little drumming from the freedom train tonight. Make sure you guys understand, represent, and do not take the emancipation that we have gone through as a people for granted. Teach your children. Tell them the truth. Show them your history. Do not be ashamed of your history. Show them the good, bad, and the beautiful, and the magnificent.
Nice.
And as I sign off here with King Louis and Queen Itah tonight, I thank you for tuning in, for being a part of this supercalifragilisticexpialidocious experience. Right? Right?
No,
So-
thank you for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
This is so important for us
Very good. Yes.
because I just like the fire within.
Yes.
And I like the vibe.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
I found out.
a wonderful way to end a very long day. I'm very excited. Very excited.
You can see my shirt.
Yeah.
Just now. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Right. That's what my shirt. The shirt can you hear me now? So I hope they hear us tonight. And I
Yes.
hope they glean from you, Itah and Louis. And we are going to share this amazing video with our people. And Itah and Louis, don't leave me, just stay with me. Stay with me because we're going to show them.
And for all the young people here, I hope that tonight that you are inspired. I mean, even for us as adults, I hope that we can see any opportunity because we know that we are such mighty and great people. Tonight, we did a number of things. We started at a station called Union Station, and we came together from all walks of life, unified, with joy, happy. Some of us, we are walking in all kinds of challenging shoes, but we made the effort to come out tonight knowing that our ancestors went through so much, so that we can experience the world that we live in this day. Harriet Tubman wasn't a big woman, she was a little person, but her statue never kept her back. Harriet Tubman was a woman who had a disability, but that never kept her back. And Harriet Tubman in her life made a commitment not to leave anyone behind, but to bring people along tonight that we will be inspired even more by the Harriet Tubmans of this world and all the unsung heroes and sheroes and working class people that make up the city and make up our community. I hope that from today on that we will inform our children and insist on the history books that Emancipation Day is one of the significant moments in our historical experience. I hope that we can do that. And I hope that we will continue to read and we will continue to uplift our children and that we will continue to be inspired to do even greater things. Just clap, just clap. I am so overwhelmed that you have come.
Itah, you remember that?
I did it. I'm even overwhelmed watching that moment.
Did you see the amount of people that were on that platform?
Yeah, because we didn't know where they were going to do, because there were only 10 people, right? Didn't know where they were going to disperse.
Smokes! Holy cow!
So it's even overwhelming